Sadly, every day in the United States, 5,000 people get diagnosed with cancer. That sucks. So we're raising money to try and stop that happening. And how are we doing that? Well, we're speedrunning some pretty awesome games. And speaking of, we have Auntie Aaron coming up with Hardcore Uprising. But just before we leap over, don't forget you have the donation link at the pinned top comment and the Twitch chat. Or if you want to do it the long and hard way, gamersforhope.com/donate. Any donations massively appreciated. And again, if you can't drop us a donation, feel free to give us a follow, or if you have that delicious little Twitch Prime sub doing nothing, feel free to drop that for us as well. Anything that helps us here is massively appreciated and all goes towards an incredible cause. But without any further ado, it's over to Aaron. Take it away.
Hi everybody, I am Anti-Aaron, and I'm doing Hardcore Uprising Sayuri. And I am ready to rock and roll.
And with that, my name is Tempest Mask 1000. I'll be Aaron's commentator for this run. And as Aaron goes ahead and sets things up, I'm going to be doing my best to explain what he'll be going through within these 8 stages and much more stuff for your viewer entertainment. And with that, we are going to kick things off with the year 2613. So Aaron, hit that A button whenever you are ready. Okay, so first and foremost, we're going to explain the category real quick. And for those curious, Aaron has just switched out his headphones for ones that will be specifically focused onto the game audio. Now, you're also seeing him put on his blindfold. Please pardon the fact that it is being keyed out by his green screen. There's not much we can really do about that, but yes. You are about to witness something really cool in action, because the fact that somebody has managed to rat out an entire Contra game blindfolded, you might think to yourself, that sounds impossible at first, but trust me, it's all very doable. So time begins right now, and we are off. So, a few things to note about the category that he is running. This is the Sayuri category, and for anyone that has played this game, this was developed by Arc System Works, known for their fighting games such as Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear, and they were brought on by Konami to help make what is essentially a spiritual prequel to the Sega Genesis game Contra Hardcore, hence the name Hardcore Uprising being the working title here. In a way, this is also meant to be seen as something of a standalone, so whether or not this game is officially a part of the canon timeline has yet to officially be confirmed, per se. It was, however, true that the team behind it did plan on making it a series of games on its own, so it is implied that what you're seeing here meant to have a sequel at some point or another. Now, all things considered, this game was originally launched for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. There sadly is no existence of a Switch port or a PC port to this day. However, the nice thing about Hardcore Uprising is that thanks to the wonderful backwards compatibility of the Xbox family, Aaron is playing this on a Series X. So it is very much possible to run this on more modern console hardware and is still very much purchasable. Now, all things considered, we do run this off of in-game time. So you will see at the end of the results screen the IGT that Aaron has gotten thus far, and then we just calculate it based on the total time run, which will be seen at the end of level 8. Now, you're noticing that, contrary to any Contra game, the character here is using a sword instead of a gun. And that's what makes Sayuri not only, well, for starters, one of a few DLC characters, but also just the easiest character to run, bar none, easily the most popular at that. She has what we call, well, we're doing this off of Rising mode, and this is what the story mode per se of the game is, as you just saw Aaron take care of the Lotus Worm, easy peasy. We're going to talk real quick about what Rising mode constitutes. So, when you get the game, you are earning what's called core points, and this is usually done by beating enemies. Usually you gotta grind for them, and each character has a set of upgrades that you can use your core points to purchase. And so Aaron is running this off of a fully upgraded Sayuri. She has most of what the other characters can buy, but not everything that... Not every upgrade is exactly the same, because everyone else does run off of a gun. So because of that, we can't really switch our weapons. You know, there's no spread shot to be found here, there's no laser gun, and unfortunate. Now, the good news is that by missing that helicopter jump, it's not game over instantly. The game automatically puts you up onto the helicopter legs the moment, like, it detects that you still have a life to go. But we will have to make that jump by the final level in order to complete the game, just as a bit of a foreshadowing here. Now we're moving into Mission to the Jungle. Now the story of the game goes that in the year 2613, the Commonwealth is the reigning government of the country here, and is led under the iron grip of Tiberius. Theory is actually his adopted daughter, but she believes that the old man is way too cruel for his own good, and thus needs to be stopped, and thus has joined forces alongside the other characters, Bahamut, Crystal, and Harley. There is a fifth playable character through DLC named Leviathan, and we will actually be seeing him. Unfortunately, for the most part, he is a boss. So this will be his first boss appearance at the end of the level, which is not that far away. For now, we're going to at least talk about the health bar system. You're noticing that for a Contra game, this actually has a health bar, and this was modeled off of the JP version of Contra Hardcore. So this game does acknowledge quite a few details and things that were put into the game, including the Contra code, which is also how Aaron is playing with 30 lives right now, because that is a official 4 points upgrade that you can get. So it is a very nice nod to that classic input code that you could do with the original Contra. So yeah, by now you can basically tell that this isn't just your average Contra run. This has a lot of Ninja Gaiden to it, so, or as Aaron likes to call it, Contra Gaiden. Now, this game also throws in a system of what's called actions. And you were noticing Sayuri do some dodges, some vaulting over floor objects. That's what that's about. And you do have to purchase those in order to be able to use them, but they're all mapped to a singular button. So in a Xbox controller format, that would be the B button. Sometimes there may be actions that may not seem as useful to you. It's a matter of what you basically prefer. This game is very customizable, so as long as you're playing on Rising mode, you got that, but any hardcore players that prefer the usual difficulty of a Contra game, with the health bar still involved, sure, there is a arcade mode in this game, and it is one of the categories that you can run on this as well. So yeah, that was Leviathan. He uses a couple of mechs called Knights, and that one got shredded just about immediately, and Aaron seems very happy about that, so good stuff, man, good stuff. Alright. Moving into Stage 3 is the Ruins. We're going to see a bit of a Contra staple coming a little bit before the main boss. I'll be sure to point it out when we do. So in this game, you do have a double jump, but one of the upgrades you can buy is a triple jump. You can also get a ninja dash, which makes you invulnerable to damage in the middle of an air dash. You can get more dashes. There's all sorts of stuff that can effectively make the run a whole lot easier. This is especially good having invulnerability to stuff like knockback, although you still can take knockback from things like air damage. But the reason I bring this up is because in the case of a gunner character, the game forces you to lose one of your special gun upgrades if you take that knockback damage. If your character manages to shrug that off, then it won't happen. But you know, of course, we are playing Sayuri, so we do not have to worry about that. And rather, one of the nice things about her blade is that she can also do a charge wave, which takes after the heated plasma gun that the gunner characters do have access to, and is one of the most effective weapons to really shred through boss health. Alright, so that was a very good Tigress right there. We'll be seeing that again, because, spoiler alert, it will be the main boss, but taking on a bit of a different form. Now you notice that that was a laser capsule right there. Just because Sayuri can't pick those up doesn't mean she can't collect them for the sake of a score bonus.
Too slow. Too slow.
And now we're just doing a bit of a Indiana Jones style boulder run here, and nice dodge right there. Good stuff. I'm managing. Whoops, my English is a bit stuttery today, folks. But yes, let's try that again, shall we? We managed to avoid getting smushed, but now the ceiling's coming down with spikes. And then we got even more boulders for extra effect. A little bit of a trapped floor that'll crumble once we run over it. And now we're going to do a little bit of rafting. This is a bit of an auto-scroller section, and so I will quickly point out that we are going to be going down a waterfall instead of up. That's the little reverse psychology for that Contra 1 staple that I alluded to earlier in this level. Now we're going to be coming up to the Draconis, which it'll be the Tigress taking on a more aquatic form. And Aaron, for that fight, will be trying to damage the weaponry in order to then board the main body itself. We'll be seeing very shortly. Once the boss is defeated, the whole thing will start to sink in the water, and then Aaron will have to jump on a helicopter yet again. So I did forget to mention there will be a third helicopter jump on, a second one before the final stage.
It's not really.
Let's see how this fight goes. In the meantime, I think this would be a good time to pass it on over to our host. So, Mike, if you'd like to talk about anything, go right ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. And in regard to your English, as a native English person, I can say that you're managing the language very well, so keep it up. But just a reminder, everyone, we are raising money here for Stand Up to Cancer, which is a charity that is effectively working to find solutions to cancer and hopefully to finally kick it in its backside so we can all just say, good riddance to cancer, let us never deal with you again. But to deal with it, we need donations because unfortunately research costs money, I'm afraid. So please do keep your donations coming in. You have the pinned comment at the top there, or failing which you can just go to gamersforhope.com/donate. All donations are massively appreciated. And as I said before, if you can't afford to make a donation, perfectly understandable. If you have a follow you haven't given us, please consider slapping that down, or that delicious little Twitch Prime sub. Please do consider slapping them on. Anything you can give helps us expand our growth and helps us raise money to fight all the amazing causes that Gamers for Hope raises money for. But yeah, back to you, Tempest. This is how he's doing this blindfolded is beyond me. I can't even beat a Contra game like looking, but here we are.
Yeah, Aaron for sure is the world record holder of Hardcore Uprising, especially when it comes to a good chunk of the categories, Sayuri especially, and he was the main proprietor to creating this very blindfolded run, just as a means to sort of keep the fun factor going, because yeah, when your skill level is as good as what he is dedicated to in this very game, I don't blame you for wanting to try and take things one step further. I mean, have you seen other blindfolded runs with people like the wonderful Bubsia? That sort of thing is just fan-freaking-tastic. And seeing it applied to a Contra game, oh yeah, that's just extra special right there. But what you're seeing is what you are getting. This level, stage 4, is an auto-scroller all across the highway. So therefore, the objective is to kill the animals. Nah, joking aside, the first boss that we saw right there was a bit of potential pain when it comes to letting it get its attacks in. So provided that you have just the right setup and deal as fast enough damage to that weak point, it's gone as quick as it was. Not really much to write home about. There's quite a bit of sound cues, though, that Aaron is listening into through his other pair of headphones right now. So, as we are going through the level, there's not really much that we can do to make it go faster, per se.
It's not my time.
The only problem involved is trying to dodge any potential instant kill opportunities. You know, we have the cop cars that try to crash into us. I mean, there's really just all sorts of dangerous things sporadically going on, just like that right there. It's the wackiness of Hardcore Uprising. If there's one thing that I very much applaud, it does the crazy combat so well. And the fact that the Commonwealth is trying to pull out everything in the kitchen sink just to handle the rebellion, now that's just fun to watch, especially when you have enemies like these going on. There will be another boss that Aaron will have to fight coming up. We'll see how that one goes. Again, it's another case of try to slash the weak point as fast as you possibly can, and then have things hopefully go lickety-split, I guess. Trying to come up with on-the-spot fast phrases, per se. We're just gonna... Let's try and jam out a little bit to this music a little bit. I'm just gonna silence myself for a bit, let y'all enjoy this. All right, nicely done avoiding the dog pile of flaming cop cars right there, Aaron. So now we've moved into our second of the 3 bosses within stage 4. We're going to start by taking out the missile pack in order to expose the bottom half, the main chassis, and then now he's just going to duck down or potentially jump over it. He's going for the duck. No problem there. And luckily the game is very nice enough to at least give you a clue as to what you're going to need to do if you wish to avoid that kind of damage, as a little coup de grace from that boss right there. There isn't really much auto-scrolling from here on out. He will be coming up very shortly to the main boss of Stage 4, which is going to be divided into several phases. And it's at that point that we're basically doing a shmup. The hoverboard is going to now turn into a flying hoverboard. I don't know what, airboard, whatever board. This is the Lux Corona. And like I said, we have multiple phases where the first one involves breaking apart those little green points right there. I guess you could call those like core crystals of some kind. I don't really know the terminology behind what makes up each boss, and I don't think the game really does a whole lot of explaining either. It's just, again, another case of what you see is what you get. Now, Aaron did miss that particular crystal, so we're gonna have to just see what happens. He did step inside the boss, so this should give him an idea that he still has a few slices to do with that in order to get the Lux Corona to open up. Just gonna let him go ahead and try for that. He's gonna have to move just a little bit more to the right. You don't have to destroy the guns that release when you destroy the crystals, though, so he's just pulling that off because with the amount of rapid attacks going on with Sayuri, it's just inevitable. There's not really much that the boss can do, per se. Now, the nice thing about that big green orb that the boss will generate is you can slice through it, as you just saw Aaron do. And then after phase 2 here, it's going to turn into a giant mech form, which will then start to try and make the game into a bit of a bullet hell. He seems very relieved about how that went. Now he's going to step right inside this thing. And you're noticing that in between each of these mini phases within the health bar, it pauses to allow the boss to move to its next spot. And we're not really going to see it do any of those gigantic laser attacks. Nothing of the sort. Now he's just going to take it out one last time. And there we go. Stage 4 is done. Good job, man. Great going so far. But we're not out of the woods just yet.
I was just going to pop in and just say I do I don't do blindfolded speedruns. I do one, but it's more of a meme run. But I can totally appreciate the frustration when you're blindfolded and you know that you haven't quite got something right, and it's amazingly stressful when you're trying to figure out exactly what's gone wrong. So seeing him figure out a boss like that on the fly is very, very impressive.
Absolutely, I cannot agree anymore. Like, true words have been spoken, folks. And now we have moved into stage 5, so before the run began, Aaron did mention the possibility of a, well, actually, no, that's not until the final level. Whoops, forget I even said that. No, but this is one of the more troublesome parts of the run. You're noticing that Aaron is going through a stealth level and is completely ignoring the stealth part of it. This is what we also do in the main non-blindfolded run itself. However, in order to proceed through the stage, we also have to get past the enemies and get through a bunch of gates. There we go. He's got himself positioned. He's looks like he's figuring out his bearings just a bit. All right, cool. That bullet should give him the right positioning. I'm gonna let him focus on this one. Okay, there we go. So now that we've gotten through all the gates, we have to make our way further down into what'll be our first mini-boss. Now, it is possible to sneak through all of those enemies. In a bit of a nod to Metal Gear, you can hide inside some cardboard boxes. I don't think I've ever given myself the chance to see what it's like to get a full completion on stealth, but if I had to make an assumption, the game might award you for an achievement. If someone who has played the game and has done exactly that is willing to confirm it for me, thank you for doing so. If not, oh well. But it's still a very interesting idea thrown into something you probably don't expect out of Contra whatsoever. I would also like to give a shout out to the developers of Way Forward, who did make the most recent game, Operation Galaga, which is yet another remake of the first Contra, but also taking into heart a lot of aspects from the other games, this one included. And I've heard nothing but wonderful things about it, so hopefully I'll be able to try it for myself. For now, though, you're noticing this boss immediately going into its phase.
Like walking on coals. It's not my time. It's not my time.
Okay.
Be gone, evil spirits.
Tempest is working on coming back, folks. I know very little about this game, but I'm just going to commentate inaccurately that this is the part of the game where we are escorting Otacon from Metal Gear Solid somewhere, I guess. Yeah.
Warning.
All right, there we go.
Warning.
I swear, technical difficulties come at the worst possible times, and it seems that Discord wanted to sabotage me. How could you? All right. Well, luckily, it seems like I won't really have to do the explaining of the escort mission, because, yeah. But we did manage to get one Dr. Geo Mandrake out of this facility. A bit of a turncoat scientist from the Commonwealth who wants his research to be put into better use and so on and so forth. May or may not be the same Dr. Geo Mandrake that ends up betraying us in Contra Hardcore later on. I don't know. The developer team never really confirmed nor denied that per se, so we'll just assume he's a good guy for now, just as he is here. And folks, it's not a Contra game without some kind of alien. The Celestial Imperator is very much scratching that itch right here. You notice those two mechanical arms that Aaron had to go through in order to be able to take on the main body, which we are nearly done taking care of. He's just completely focusing his slashes upwards. And just like that, this thing is as good as gone. I was trying to come up with something witty, but
Mission clear.
I did not want to go a touch too far. For some reason, that thing looks very alien-like and very infant-like. I get the feeling like Contra has a tendency to appreciate, I want to say either body horror or something or another. I mean, it's Konami. It's a Konami franchise. If anyone has played Gradius, you'd probably know a thing or two about that as well.
By a Contra franchise, I presume you mean that they've been ignoring it for 20 years.
I mean, like I said, we did get Operation Galaga, which I did try to shout out. I'm not sure if that managed to get through before Discord started acting up on me, but yeah, in case it didn't, once more, shout out to WayForward, who did develop that particular game and did take a lot of cues from all sorts of Contra games, this one included. And now with that in mind, we are on our next of the auto-scroller levels. This will be our last full auto-scroller level. There will still be some auto-scrolling to do in level 8, but after that, we would be done with all that. And folks, I like trains. Shout out to Tom's Ska. If you know, you know. Seems like the connection is still acting a bit funky though on my end, so if by any chance I sound a bit gargly, I do apologize in advance, or robotic in any kind. I guess GLaDOS, as someone in chat had already said.
Well, if it's all right, can I just hop in for a minute or so?
Absolutely, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just want to remind people of the runs coming up. Not that this run isn't amazing, and you wouldn't want to be thinking about somebody else. This run is absolutely incredible to see somebody do Contra blindfolded, but just a quick reminder of what we've got coming up. In about half an hour, we have Viper UK with Monsters Inc. Scare Island. About an hour after that, I'm not going to give you times because I'm just seeing this in UK times, and I'm not even going to attempt to tell you all of the localizations. But yeah, in about half an hour, we have Monsters Inc. Scare Island from Viper UK. About an hour after that, so about an hour and a half from now, we have Metroid Scroll 6 with Linkermeister, and then moving what will be into the early morning here in the UK, we'll be moving on to Fear, F-E-A-R, then Batman Arkham Asylum, Star Trek Voyager Elite Force with the Meow mod. Now that definitely sounds very, very interesting. So, for as absolutely awesome as this run is, we have plenty more incredible runs on the way, so be sure to check them out. And, if you can, maybe just, got that little pin donation link up the top of the Twitch chat, that'd be absolutely awesome. But yeah, back to you, Tempest.
All right, thank you so much, Mike. And so there's still more train stuff to go through. There will be some mini bosses to go through as well. One particular boss is going to be yet another case of a machine turning into a mecha, which can be one of the more casually troublesome foes to face. You'll know it when you see it. But right now, this is the part of the game where, as we are riding on the train cars, if they take too much damage, they'll start to explode after turning red. Once that happens, yeah, you're gonna fall onto the electrified tracks, and that'll be another case of an instant kill. But so far, we have not really seen any trouble as far as my eyes could see. There's already one of the mini-bosses taken care of, just a few train turrets per se. Now, because this level literally runs on rails, I'll see myself out. This will eventually cause the boss to automatically defeat itself by falling off of the top track if that battle prolongs itself up to that point. But now we are moving on to the real stinker of a boss here. This mecha will suddenly transform once that little module is taken out right there and permanently remove the third of the train cars from the fight until this thing is taken out. And he's only able to be hit once he's close enough to you, but you're also seeing him suddenly make use of picking up the train cars and then trying to toss you off, which Aaron took an intentional death in order to take him out. So that was a very, very good fight right there. And luckily we will get our third car back momentarily as we then make our way up to the actual boss of the stage. Now, if we were playing as Bahamut, there's one voice line that I love to hear him say that he also mentions at the beginning of the jungle level, stage 2. So I'll be sure to do it in spirit of him once we have our new mech of the day, Arachnus, spawn right in. So enjoy this cutscene, followed by... I hate spiders. He literally just says it like that, and it's the funniest thing. And I said Arachnus, I meant to say Arachne. Thank you for the correction, game. So now that we've taken out the front two legs, you do have to watch that little cutscene where the game shows the thing transforming into a bit more of an offensive mode, and then has that laser cannon fired off to completely annihilate that train, and then you just got to take it out with that weak point right there. So stage 6 is done, only 2 more levels to go, and now it is back into the main action right after this.
You're trained.
At this rate, we have taken the rebellion all the way up to the Commonwealth's main base, so here we will be meeting Tiberius at some point in the stage, but we'll also be reunited with Leviathan. A nice little detail that Arc System Works added into the game was, depending on what character you're playing as, the story that the blurbs for the story that you notice before the level completely finishes loading, they're different per character. So it adds a bit of perspective as to how they're feeling, what they're dealing with. Just a minor detail, but in sort of major storytelling ways, if you will. And one thing I'd also like to give a shout out to is the anime cutscenes that were done by Studio 4 Degrees Celsius, which, if you may or may not have heard of them, they're pretty prolific with working on anime cutscenes for video games or OVAs, or have done stuff of their own, such as an animated feature film called Mind Game. They've also worked on the anime stuff for Street Fighter 4, and they've also done work for The Amazing World of Gumball. Check them out if you're interested. Now we are going up some elevators here.
And I'll just say I love The Amazing World of Gumball.
Oh yeah, no, it is a very, very, very amazing cartoon. It's got some really funny moments, and the amount of mixed media they put into it, mwah, chef's kiss. But yeah, we'll gush about that another time if that time ever comes. You're noticing these elevators getting targeted by missiles. And I love the fact that they also have this, like, burp, 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 as they're just falling down after taking the hit. Extra little details where they count. So once we get out of the elevator sequence, we're going to be doing some climbing through the side of the tower, and this is where a few nice discoveries will come into play. Particularly, some of our fellow runners are the Phantomire and Slurpee Ninja. If you've heard of them, shoutouts to them. And I believe it was Phantomire that had discovered that you can completely skip out on a certain enemy spawn within the stage, particularly some helicopters of the Commonwealth that the game forces you to deal with in order to keep climbing up, and there are 2 of those. How you do so is you position yourself right at the safest point that you possibly can, fall down into the death pit, which, by the way, the camera does keep up with you, so you can't go back down, otherwise the game will just take a life from you. But we're going to be doing that intentionally. Or, actually, looks like maybe not. I kind of forgot that I think the blindfolded run... Yeah, the blindfolded run does have to kill the copters. Never mind. Right, I'm the one who has the notes, folks. So he's going to take out the other helicopter, which luckily this one does have a safer platform to stand on and do away with very easily. Now we're currently sitting at 13 lives. Something I was trying to bring up before was that Aaron suspected that if there is a possibility of a game over, it very well could be here. Particularly once we get back to Leviathan. All depends on how things will go leading up to him. But this is where we now have to forget the elevators, just climbing all of these missiles all the way up to the top. And you thought this game couldn't get any more hardcore, but here they are, proving you wrong. You cannot deny it. This is probably one of the coolest things that you wish you'd be seeing in something just as epic as the Die Hard franchise.
It's not over.
Alright.
It's not over.
So we did manage to get by only losing 5 lives. I'm sorry, 4. I think that's more like 4 lives. I can math, I swear. We're just getting further up. Got to avoid those electrical gates, otherwise those will knock you down, because again, knockback damage is practically guaranteed whenever you get hit in midair. And now we've met Tiberius.
Did you show up just to be killed?
That was not him, by the way, who just said that.
It's showtime.
That was him who just did that very gaudy laugh. I get the feeling like they intentionally gave him a UK accent, and I don't know why, but I almost feel like it gives him that sort of character, like added dash of character when you least expect it. Ooh, looks like Aaron's having a bit of trouble though. Unfortunate. Yep, that's exactly the part that he figured he was going to get the game over at.
Did you show up just to be killed?
No big deal. Luckily, the game does give you retries, and we did get one right, like putting us right before this chamber, so we do get another go at it right here.
It's not over.
There we go. So now we've begun the Leviathan boss battle. This is a 2-phase. The first phase is him himself, where we're actually trying to damage him, but also chase after him. Otherwise, the level won't let us progress. This is where you can definitely get away with using your action commands if you know how to use them, and look like a boss for it at that. Once again, everything is on fire, but hopefully we'll be fine. A little further out. Okay, Leviathan is now at half health. Oh, now we're going from jumping off of missiles to jumping off of umbrellas. Perhaps not as epic. Obviously, no doubt one of the reasons why he's completely avoiding them entirely. Alright, so now Leviathan tries to use enemy soldier as a human hostage. Obviously not going to work on us. And down he goes.
I'll save my victory for later.
Now, he says he's going to save his victory for later, but in fact, he's going to try to get his victory right now. With yet another Night Mech. So now we got the Night Lunatic. Was it? Game, help me out here. Thank you, Night Lunata.
This will be challenging.
He's gonna try and swing a giant sword because I guess he's a big fan of anime and likes Berserk. So trying to get his inner guts going, but to no avail. And with that, we will no longer be seeing Leviathan from here on out. Whether he survives that or not is up in the air. It's presumed that he does. Who knows? But right now, we've got one more boss to deal with here in Stage 7.
I won't let you escape.
And this is where we got another casual stinker right here. Folks, if you like dogs, I assure you this is not one that you wish to take home with you. Say hello to Cerberus. Okay. It doesn't even have 4 legs. This thing is just a nightmare to deal with, though. And part of it, too, is because the weak point is the underbelly. And yet this thing also wants to try and come down on you. So thankfully, one of the big hacks that we get off of using Sayuri's sword is being able to aim it downward, and therefore makes it much less of a problem than it has to be. But if you're playing as a gunner character, you want to make sure you can shoot at it with something that can phase through solid objects, because otherwise you're going to have a much slower time taking out this thing.
Stupendous.
Alright, folks, one more level to go. And now we're going to be chasing after Tiberius onto his airship.
Unforgivable.
I'm just waiting for her to say a thing or two. I guess she doesn't really say a second thing, unlike Bahamut. Oh well. We are now on our final auto-scroller of the game, so for now we're gonna just go ahead and pass it on over to our host. If you'd like to say anything, Mike, go right ahead.
Yes, absolutely. I'd just like to remind everyone we are raising money here at Gamers for Hope, Gamers Against Cancer 2025, as the name may suggest, for the Stand Up to Cancer organisation. If you want to donate, you have the pinned comment at the top, or if you like doing it the hard way, we have gamersforhope.com/donate. If you are not in a position to actually donate money, if you have a follow that you haven't dropped on us yet, or that delicious, scrumptious little Twitch Prime sub, feel free to drop that on us. Anything you can do helps us massively. And just a quick reminder as well as what we've coming up in the very near future, within I'd say probably the next half hour, we have Viper UK with Monsters Inc, and then after that we have Linkermeister with Metroid Scrolls 6, and then moving in the UK into the morning we have Fear, FEAR, Batman Arkham Asylum, Star Trek Voyager, Midnight Mayhem, which may kind of be in midnight, I suppose, if you're in New York, but either way, got some amazing runs coming up. But remember, we are here to raise money. You have the pinned comment at the top. If you can donate, please do. It's an incredible cause. But back to you, Tempest.
So I did forget to make a quick shout out to the only Joey, Bikermeister Mars, as Aaron was going through the air, flying off that bike and right on to the battleship, the main deck, where we are now infiltrating inside this darn thing. Everything is out to kill you here. You've got electrical floors. We've got an entire stage based on the top of the ship that just tries to come crushing down on you. We've got giant laser cannons, missiles that we also have to climb in order to do some platforming. And Aaron should be able to get himself off momentarily. Just has to do a little bit of platforming recognition. There we go. All right. So now we're going to continue. I don't think the missile cycle is going to line up all that well, though. He did manage to get past that first gap. But now we've got a huge one coming up.
Not finished yet.
Okay, there we go. Luckily, the game did play a little bit nicely on that last one. The moment he respawned, he clung on to one automatically. Now this is the tricky part right here. He has to recognize that he doesn't want to go to the right, but rather he wants to go upward, and luckily, oh, not quite yet. Okay. Just gotta give it just a moment right here.
It's not my time.
Alright, there we go. Nicely done. And one more elevator to climb up and onto the core of the battleship, the Vitus engine. Once again, it is a multi-phase boss. You'll start things off with a bunch of eye-like orbitars that will shoot lasers at you, or shocking projectiles, I suppose. So we do have to go from side to side, because you're noticing that he took out the left one, but the right one is still doing that joint attack. So that cannot be interrupted until both of those things are taken out. And luckily they will get shredded like paper mache the moment that a projectile makes contact, so we can totally long range it here. But you're noticing that those convenient dotted lines, those act as border reminders, because the moment you go past them, your character will start to fall off the battlefield. After all 6 of those are taken care of, we'll then have to destroy all the pillars that will start to open and close, and then finally we move on to the main engine itself, which will start coming left and right and rolling around like a bowling ball. Pretty simple as that, but it seems like the orbitars are doing a horrible job giving Aaron a proper pattern to slice and dice. He is... Okay, there we go. Thank goodness, right? That was a bit nerve-wracking because it was just out of sync too with how he was trying to fire at them. But yeah, no. Now that that's taken care of, we're on to phase 2. All right. So, like I said, destroy all those pillars.
It's not over.
And then we proceed on.
It's not over.
And in the interest of doing some quick cross-promotion, I would like to remind everybody that, once again, this game is still digitally available for the Xbox family. And if you do have access to purchasing this game on a PlayStation 3, then feel free to do so. We also do allow emulation as well in the Contra community. So if you would like to potentially play Hardcore Uprising through that way, that is perfectly fine. If you would like to learn this run for yourselves, we do have some resources or runners that will readily be available to help you out. I'd like to make a quick shout out to the Contra speedrunning Discord, where the community also likes to hold races between community members whenever possible. So big shout out to them, a very welcoming community if I do say so myself. And there are quite a number of categories that you can do in Hardcore Uprising between Rising Mode, Blindfolded, which is what Aaron's been doing. It all varies between the different characters that you can play as. And of course, let's not forget as well that there are, if anyone has played this game, you might know that there are these things called star chips. We do have a category for collecting all of them. There's 1 star chip per level.
You again.
And now, with that out of the way, we now have our Tiberius final boss fight coming up right here.
I'm going to enjoy this battle.
And they just decided to give him this, like, double-pitched reverb tone just to further accentuate the fact that this guy is off his rocker. And he is completely helpless to the fact that we're fighting sword v sword.
Let's begin
well,
the final battle.
We just happen to be better than him, straight and simple. Reminder, folks, this guy raised Sayori. We're playing as his adoptive daughter. He's literally going to be taken out by the very person he raised. Irony if I've ever seen one right here. So this is Tiberius Augustus, and you're noticing this just giant hulking thing. Contra, like I said, likes to play with body horror and mutations sometimes, and this is very much it. And then we have to slash him one more time after we've taken out the full health bar. But we're not quite done just yet. Our final phase is going to be a aerial battle on a bunch of falling platforms. And how it'll work is the final form of Tiberius will be going from either left, right, or potentially attack from the background. We just want to get as much damage in as possible. The thing is, Aaron doesn't exactly have the ability to see the falling platforms. He has to move around in order to find them and find the boss itself. So we're going to hope for the best that this all works out. By the way, quick note that during Phase 2, he was slashing and counting for the 8th chug in order to time when the foot stomp and arm attack happens, which he wouldn't otherwise be able to hear. Alright, so far looking good. We're already down to half his health. However, we're looking very dicey here, because you're noticing he is on his final life. And once Tiberius is done, which now he is, Aaron still has to get to the helicopter. Oh, that's not looking good. Okay, hope. No! Oh, that's unfortunate.
Let's rock.
Alright, well... I'm so sorry, man. Okay. We're just gonna have to do this rodeo one last time, then. So the second verse will be the same as the first. To give you a bit of clarity, the only thing he had to do was survive until the helicopter arrived, and then he had to land on it. But on one life, that would have been very tough to pull. So honestly, I don't blame him for the fact... I don't blame the fact that it just happened. He managed to come out of a tougher spot earlier in the level. It did cost him some lives. But man, that is unfortunate. Still...
Well, looking at the webcam, he doesn't seem to mind, or either that he's just completely broken. It's one or the other.
Let's begin. Final battle.
All right. I think I can see laughter though. There's definitely it's got to be a little bit of both. I feel that. I feel that so hard. All right, back to Tiberius Augustus. So like I said earlier, 8th chug until the foot stomp and arm attack happens. Which is already did. You can grab onto the arm in order to avoid the flamethrower attack. And then he's gonna get stunned before you have to hit him one last time. I get tired of killing as well, Sayori. That's too true. Alright, down we go. By the way, I'm still here. I needed to give my voice a break after all that. Alright, so now we still have a bunch of lives to work with here, so hopefully as we get through this final fight against Tiberius Invictus, we should be okay. God willing. Heaven or hell, let's rock.
It's not my time.
Alright, down goes Tiberius. Once more, Aaron has to wait for the helicopter to spawn, and then the moment that he jumps onto the helicopter legs, that'll be time. Folks, I'd like to officially let you know that if you'd like to give our runner a follow, it's Anti-Aaron on twitch.tv. Please be sure to do so if you want to see him continue to run this game, as well as a few others that he's devoted his time and efforts to.
It's not over.
And that isn't quite it yet. Give him just a few more tries and that should be it. Nope.
It's not over. I'm not finished.
Come on.
It's not
Too
over.
much to the right. And,
Not.
close. Come on.
It's not. Oh,
We still have 19 lives to burn through. We can do this.
not finished yet.
Time. There we go.
Mission.
Ooh, that was pretty dicey at the end, but man, we made it through and then some. GG, man. GG. And our final clear time, IGT-wise, is 50 minutes, 40 seconds.
True warrior.
All right.
50 at least.
How do you feel, man?
I was trying to drain at the end, but I'm like, this is gonna be hilarious if I don't make it. Of course, go figure.
I'm so sorry that happened to you, but you managed
No,
the second
that's the
time
hilarious
around.
part about. That's the hilarious part about. I was like, he's trying to drain him. Then he's like, he might have enough. No, he doesn't.
All right. Well, all things considered, I'm gonna let you do all your shoutouts. But real quick, if anyone would like to once more go ahead and join the Contra speedrunning community, check out our Discord. You can find the links on the SRC leaderboards. My name is Tempest Mask 1000. If you want to follow me on Twitch, YouTube, or whatever you fancy, go right ahead. Aaron, take us home, and thank you for having us.
Yep, and I'm Anti-Aaron, and you can follow me on Twitch at Anti-Aaron, all one word. And you can find me on the Contra Discord. And as you can see, this game can be played by anybody, even if you're blind. So have fun, everybody. Have a good weekend, and hope to raise a lot of money.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that run. Thank you to Tempest Mass for that incredible commentary. And of course, thank you to Anti-Aaron for that absolutely amazing run. That was quite something to behold with the blindfold. So yeah, achieving things in Contra I couldn't do with perfect 2020 vision. But we are going to take a quick break. It is the end of my hosting shift. I'm going to be handing things over to Dino95HD, but don't go too far. We've got Monsters Inc. Scare Island coming up with Viper UK. So don't go too far. We'll be back with you in the very near future. But for now, I will say